We know Jennifer Lopez can do it all, but can she elevate another generic action movie from Netflix? Let's talk about The Mother. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Netflix film, The Mother. This debuted appropriately enough on Mother's Day weekend, and it is still currently the #1 movie on Netflix as of right now. And Jennifer Lopez is the star of it. She's worn many different hats in the film industry. She has done, the heavy drama stuff. She was great in Hustlers. Maybe could have been nominated for an Oscar for that performance. Maybe should have been. She's done, obviously, romantic comedies. Her next movie is a sci-fi film, apparently. And, of course, she's done, the musical biopic as well. She sort of got her film career jump-started with Selena. But she's definitely dabbled in the action game as well. Things like Enough and this Jason Statham movie she did about 10 years ago called Parker. And so here is the latest in that realm for her called The Mother. Before we launch into my review of this movie, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got a ton of great movie and TV reviews for you to check out. I try to post something new just about every day, so please consider subscribing down below there. Would love to have you aboard there. Or just, like this video, comment on it, share it on your socials, all that stuff does help the channel out, and I certainly appreciate it. So let's get to this movie. Jennifer Lopez has been on, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a cool streak lately with her movies. She did this is sort of in the action realm too, but it was like an action romantic comedy called Shotgun Wedding. She did that a few months ago, and I panned it. It was not a good review, but look, I think there's certainly nothing wrong with Lopez wanting to sort of get back into these action roles that helped, kind of further her film career way back when. I feel like there's a big thing right now with like older women, and I say older, she's only really a few years older than me, but older women sort of trotting out these hardcore, badass action movies. In fact, this movie, while I was watching it, reminded me of Jennifer Garner's turn in Peppermint, and certainly like there's shades of some of the stuff Charlize Theron has been doing lately, albeit that's much better than this movie. But the basic premise is, so J-Lo's character never really has a name other than the Mother. That's all we kind of know about her. But she is an arms smuggling dealer way back when. She gets pregnant, and for the safety of her child, she is put up for adoption. And so now, cut to 12 years later, she comes out of hiding to protect that daughter that she gave up so many years ago, while also on the run from some men from her past and some new ones as well. Also in this movie, first of all, I will say I don't recognize the daughter, but she is played by Lucy Paz. But you've got Joseph Fiennes here, Paul Raci, who was nominated for an Oscar for a wonderful movie called The Sound of Metal a few years ago. You've got Gael Garcia Bernal, and in a small role, Edie Falco as well. So, this movie has some talent in front of the camera for sure, but that is kind of Netflix thing. They throw money at these top-tier stars, and we've seen it time and again these last few years with, movies like Red Notice and The Gray Man. And there was one with Queen Latifah that was horrible. I gave it an F. I can't even remember what it was. Maybe End of the Road it was called. And so, they throw money at these people to do these projects to, get people talking for a week or two, put it, in the top 2 or 3 of their movie streaming chart for a few weeks. And then the movie basically goes away and is forgotten by most. And I think that is what is going to end up happening here with The Mother. So I mentioned up at the top that, this is another one of the Netflix generic action movies, sort of on that assembly line. And it really is. And I think it could have been a little more interesting with, some of the emotional attachments with the mother character and her daughter, and their relationship sort of, not really knowing her mother previously, and the two of them sort of bonding over that, and also though teaching the daughter how to fight for herself and defend herself and all of this. And some of that could have been, I guess, a little more engaging, but it just wasn't. It's all so very generic. It doesn't help that the villains involved are so freaking standard, and lack any sort of depth at all. We don't really even get to know them really much more than the surface level stuff that we find out, kind of at the beginning of the movie, and then it sort of builds from there, but their characters never build. And I do think that's a bit of an issue, certainly. But to answer the question I posed at the beginning, does Jennifer Lopez have the talent to elevate a sort of middling script like this, a mediocre, generic sort of movie? And to be honest, she kind of does. In the same way maybe that Jennifer Garner did for Peppermint a few years ago. Peppermint, I think I gave a D. Like, it was not a good movie. I wasn't reviewing movies on the channel at the time, but I was still watching them, and I wrote down all my grades. And I think I gave it a D. It wasn't good. But Jennifer Garner, was fine in it. She was doing her best, and she was a mother character in that one. Her daughter had been murdered at the beginning, and her husband at the beginning of the movie, and so it's like a revenge movie. But here, Jennifer Lopez really can do these dramatic action roles, these, thriller type roles. And I would like to see her do more of them, really. Look, she's fine in the rom-coms, the one she did a couple years ago with Owen Wilson, Marry Me. I thought that was fine. I think, I gave that like in the B kind of range. But I think if this is a direction she wants to go in, she would be well served in it with a good script, some more interesting things going on. But everything about this is just so generic. From, like I said, the villains, the script on the whole, even the sets and stuff are not very engaging. And this was directed by a woman whose name I was kind of unfamiliar with, Nikki Caro, but I've seen a bunch of her stuff, and a lot of it is like really sort of, female heavy, female empowerment kind of ideas, like The Zookeeper's Wife. She did the live action Mulan, which, if I remember correctly, it's been a couple of years, but if I remember correctly, had some really cool fight sequences and action sequences. That was kind of, one of the best parts of the movie, if I'm remembering that correctly. Here, we didn't really get any of this. And I will say, maybe the character wasn't as suited to Jennifer Lopez as it might have been to somebody else. I don't know. But I actually kind of got the sense that she did the best she could with the role. So I have to say, I don't blame the generic nature of this movie on J-Lo. I really blame it actually on Netflix. I don't even really blame the director. I think Netflix probably came to her and said, hey, give us your best sort of, cliche-ridden action movie, and this is what they churned out. The emotional stakes just weren't really there. I will say I wasn't bored watching this movie. It goes on for almost 2 hours, and it was engaging enough, I guess, in that respect, but it's just, there's nothing to set it apart from anything else. But I would like to see J-Lo do more of this kind of role, just in better movies. This movie does not deserve her. So I leave The Mother with a D+. All right, that is good. The same grade I gave Shotgun Wedding, I think, earlier this year. So that will do it for me. I will see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.